Well, it was the first one. It almost certainly won't be the last loss of this season. The 49ers lose 26-21 to Jacksonville. And the simple story is that you are very, very rarely going to win a football game in the NFL when you turn the ball over 4 times and you don't have any official takeaways to your name. There was some very bad luck for San Francisco. Upton Stout looked to have an interception and a big return, and they called illegal contact. So you could dispute that call all you want. But the sloppiness on the offensive side of the ball and then the absolute special teams catastrophe for the 49ers. I mean, there were 3 disastrous plays on special teams. You're not going to beat a good team like Jacksonville, who moves to 3-1. That is the same record as the 49ers, 3-1. So only a couple undefeateds left in the NFL, and the 49ers are going to have to quickly rebound. Thursday Night Football in LA. Usually after a loss like this, you want to play quickly. But Ricky Pearsall's health is in question. He missed the end of this game with a knee injury. The 49ers, even though they were shorthanded offensively, were moving this football. Jake Ton just cut it to 26-21. But what happened right after that? Chase Lucas, personal foul, 15 yards for Jacksonville. And, I get it. I know that they missed the field goal coming after that, but it was just another one of those terrible special teams plays that put the 49ers in really, really bad position. We saw Parker Washington not only return a punt nearly 90 yards for a touchdown, looked like high school punt defense from the 49ers, but we also saw him return a kick at the end of the first half when the 49ers were struggling, and they finally got 3 points, and it looked like they'd be able to go into the locker room down only 8. Kickoff was returned across midfield, and it allowed Jacksonville to kick a field goal that essentially nullified what the 49ers had done in their 2-minute drill. So it was one of those games where the 49ers just kept on self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound, and it's not going to be good enough to beat this team. I thought that they put Trevor Lawrence into difficult spots. If there's something to hang your hat on if you're the 49ers, the defense, despite looking rough without Nick Bosa over that long drive in the first half, they stepped up time and time again. But the offense and the special teams, especially the special teams, not fully able to capitalize in the second half. Today, Brock Purdy finished 22 of 38, 309 yards, threw those 2 picks today. Now, the first one, it looked to be a good ball to Christian McCaffrey. I mean, it was tough. You got to get it over the linebacker and in front of the safety, and just some uncharacteristic drops from Christian today. Christian had a couple, and I'm sure he's going to be steaming over the inability to catch that. Then he batted it backwards, and Jacksonville was able to intercept it. By the way, the Jags, I think they're plus 13 on takeaways now. I think they're plus 9 in turnover differential. They lead the NFL with interceptions. They had a good 7 or 8 interceptions entering this game, 2 more today. But that particular one, it was at the time of the game where the 49ers thought that they could, really establish control of the arm wrestling match and keep the defense on the sideline. McCaffrey batting it back to a Jacksonville defender, gave the football back to the Jaguars. And of course, that's when this game started to be played on that true uphill plane for the 49ers. I would say another critical error for San Francisco came when Luke Farrell, the tight end, the former Jaguar, caught the football, had a first down for the 49ers, but instead of cradling the ball, and Luke is a blocking tight end, right? So the first thing he needs to do after catching the ball, you got to cradle it. You cannot just be holding it out there like a loaf of bread. Fumble, that was the first giveaway, the first of 4 for the 49ers, and it gave Jacksonville the football. I mean, unlike last week, the 49ers actually opened this game controlling the tempo. They had more plays. They had more yards per play than Jacksonville over the first quarter of this game. But they lost control of that advantage in the arm wrestling match once they started turning the ball over. A lot of people are going to be asking, well, was Purdy fully healthy? I think he might have been missing slightly high a few times. But for the most part, the football was hitting the 49ers in the hands in the first half. I mean, Jawan Jennings, and he did some stuff really well after this, so I'm going to try to play both sides of this. But Jawan Jennings, at the end of the first half, Purdy had to sneak a football in there lower, not higher in that one play, because there was a defender draped over Jawan's back, 3rd down in the red zone. It hit his hands. He couldn't hold on to it. We talk about the McCaffrey drops. We talk about Kendrick Bourne dropping 3 passes today, 2 short ones in the first half, and then he might still be running right now if he caught that 3rd down pass from Brock Purdy over the middle, but Kendrick just couldn't haul it in, and it was one of the many gaffes. So I say drops, I say giveaways and drops actually conflated at times in this game on these tipped interceptions and absolute special teams catastrophes. I mean, the 49ers had 2 games where the special teams was solid, where it was plus expected points. After the Seattle disaster where they lost 11 expected points on special teams. And today, I don't even want to look to see how ugly that number is going to be. They lose this game by 5, and I think they definitely lost at least 10 points, expected points on special teams. It's just not going to get it done. I mean, this team back in 2023, when everybody was healthy and they're the top offense of the league, they had a massive, massive margin, right? And now they don't have that margin anymore. You can't be that bad on special teams, especially if you're losing the turnover battle 4-0. They're also still, the run game is not there consistently for the 49ers. It looked like early on they were clicking a little bit more, but then when they got behind game flow wise, it stalled out because you're playing from behind. I think that was actually encouraging at the start of the game where they did work their way downfield with some success in the run game. They had that 3rd, 4th down sequence where they ran on 3rd down and Christian McCaffrey was able to pick it up against a softer defense against the run. But again, once they started turning the ball over, then that form of game control did hop out the window. McCaffrey was 17 carries, 49 yards. It's only 2.9 per rush. That's going to be one of the lowest numbers in his career. Just goes to show you that you've got to play complementary football, especially with how the 49ers are blocking right now without George Kittle. You've got to do a better job setting yourself up. McCaffrey did have 6 catches for 92 yards, leaked out of the backfield there late on that Tonjes touchdown drive to get the 49ers to back within 5, 26-21, but it was too little too late. And then, guess who got his revenge to essentially seal the game? Eric Armstead beat the 49ers offensive line. It looked like Pooney and Jake Brendel got beat, and the former 49er Eric Armstead knocked the ball away from Brock Purdy. Jacksonville recovered. That was that. The 49ers would never see the football again. They lose this one 26-21. The defense, you couldn't ask them for one more stop because they'd given you a string of stops over the course of the second half. I mean, they gave them one in the first half to prevent a true lapping. Then they gave them 3 or 4 in the second half. And finally, it was just too much weight for the defense to handle. Now, that's something that really, though, does deserve. I mean, this is a long season, right? Every one of these games is a chapter of a longer novel. The 49ers are 3-1. They get to play the Rams on Thursday. I think I predicted a 3-3 start for the 49ers. So they still have a good chance to start better than what I predicted. So you can't freak out after one win, but you have to identify the things that the 49ers have to fix. And I think that, one of the things that is working in their favor is that even without Nick Bosa, Robert Saleh was able to cobble together a defensive effort today that put the 49ers in position to win this game. And that's not nothing because in the first half, they were rushing 4 and they weren't getting to Trevor Lawrence. And the Jags had a drive where they went 107 yards. Like they started at their own 11, but they went backwards because of penalties. So they gained 107 yards. And at that point, it looked like the 49ers were ducks in the water. Saleh then ended up blitzing a little bit in the second half. And the reason that he blitzed, then he wanted to, I think, save it for way later in the game. But because the offense was losing its control of the arm wrestling match, he had to use it earlier. Those blitzes hit, and the defense truly stepped up for the 49ers to the point where Trevor Lawrence looked like he was melting on that drive in the third quarter where Jacksonville got very, very lucky. It was 3rd down, and Saleh brought his first blitz of the game, and it caused Jacksonville to false start. The play was on its way to being blown up, but the false start gave Jacksonville a second chance. They went for it on 3rd and 15, and Lawrence threw the interception to Upton Stout, which was nullified by the illegal contact penalty. So we're sitting here saying that the 49ers defense actually did its job. Just imagine if that flag, which I think was very controversial, hadn't been thrown. I mean, Saleh is having these guys play despite the fact that he doesn't have Nick Bosa right now, which I think is a big arrow up for the 49ers. I still, the trouble getting rushed with 4 in the first half is something the 49ers are going to have to address. Smoke and mirrors with the pass rush won't work for this team forever. It's They're almost certainly going to have to be on the market for something in October if they get a similar game flow as today. But they have one of the best defensive minds in football with Robert Saleh, and he did do a good job for the 49ers. But offensively, you have to hold on to the football, point blank. I mean, there's going to be a lot of talk about quarterback this, quarterback that, pass protection. Yeah, I don't think those things were great, but if the 49ers catch 80% of the passes that they dropped today, then they win this game. They only lost by 5 despite being -4 in the turnover margin. So, I mean, you could look at it two ways. You could say, wow, this team only lost to a good Jacksonville team, which was the number 2 defense in the league entering this game. They lead the league in takeaways. They only lost by 5 despite such poor performances in the turnover department and on special teams. But that's also tremendously painful for the 49ers, because you could say if they had just been average in those phases of the game plus holding on to the football, then they would have won. Either way, you've got to turn the page because you now play on Thursday against the Rams. Divisional matchup against LA. They beat Indianapolis 27-20. That means LA moves to 3-1. You got Seattle at 3-1, the 49ers at 3-1, Rams at 3-1. I'm going to go to the locker room right now and get a status update on Ricky Pearsall, because it's going to be a short week. So we'll see if he's able to turn it around and go against the Rams. This is going to be tough sledding for the 49ers. It is also a short week for the Rams, but they have the momentum of a win now before the 49ers head down to SoFi Stadium. One more note, Demarcus Robinson back, 1 catch, 20 yards for the 49ers, and he snagged that one up high. It was a big third down reception today. But the second time that Purdy went to him on third down, it happened to be a little too high from Brock Purdy. It was one of the throws that Brock sailed. I guess Robert Saleh got into it with Liam Cohn after the game, Jacksonville's coach. I'm just getting this because I obviously started the instant reaction. Mike, if you can tell me a little bit more as to what happened. Obviously, this was sign-stealing gate, if you will. Robert Saleh was not picked for the Jacksonville head coaching job. Liam Cohn was. Saleh might have been the runner-up for that. And then this week he said that Jacksonville legally steals some of the signs. You know, my initial takeaway there, and I have to see it, and I'll react to a lot of that later, is that the 49ers actually played a good game defensively. The adjustments there, I thought, were won by Robert Saleh in the second half. They just couldn't get out under the weight of those giveaways and those drops and the special teams, which just somehow, some way has to be better. Margins are not big enough for the 49ers to succeed with that formula. All right, I'm off to the locker room. We'll talk to you guys soon.